Hey, everybody, I'm Sierra,
And I'm Ben.
and welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateways into true crime.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Well, I know, you guys, fair warning. This is an after dark episode, which just for me and Ben basically means recording anytime after 6 p.m., where we are old and like to be in bed by 8:30.
We're not going to be in bed that early. You and I both took a nap today.
I didn't take a nap. I closed my eyes and listened to a book for a little while.
You took a nap. Well, I took a nap on the couch.
You did. But it's just late. It's almost 8 o'clock here. So we'll see if this gets to be silly goose time. But we are recapping season 3, episode 21. Is this the last episode of season 3?
No, it's not.
It's not the last episode?
I think there's at least one more, possibly two. I don't know. I do know there's an episode 22.
You just feel like this is the season that never ends.
It is the season that never ends.
Do you remember, did you ever watch Lamb Chop as a kid growing up?
This is the song that never. Yeah.
I loved that show.
I don't remember it very much, but yeah,
But you do remember that song. I mean,
everyone knew that song.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I loved that show. What show did you watch as a kid growing up? Is there one like little, like Sesame Street, Lamb Chop? What else was there?
I loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was the best show.
Yeah.
The best.
The best.
It was the best.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and Winnie the Pooh.
Yo, yeah.
And they had that TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
That's
all right.
Very
we
cute.
got 4 stories on this one, so
we
got a lot.
We got to get through it.
And a lost love again.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite.
Yeah.
Our favorite. Everyone's favorite.
Everyone loves a lost love. Mm-hmm. I've actually had a few listeners reach out and say that they just don't remember this many lost love stories. It is more common, oddly enough, than like the UFO stories and the kind of mystical encounters, which is crazy because that is what we all loved or didn't love, some of us in the room, about Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in the same boat. I never saw this coming, but we're in it.
We're in it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we dive into today's episode, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that Santa Claus is watching. And what Santa Claus wants you to do is support your local podcasters and your indie podcast hosts by subscribing and following us wherever you listen to your podcast. Share us with a friend. Follow us on social media, Unsolved Couple Pod, TikTok, and Instagram. And lastly, for an extra special present from Santa, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. All right. Are you ready for this story, Ben? You guys, this is kind of a crazy one.
I was born ready.
Born ready?
Yep.
Okay. On a quiet September afternoon in 1980, a Kansas City doctor pulled into the parking lot outside of her apartment after a long day of work and never made it out of the car. A man walks up to her window, raises a .45 caliber handgun, and fires 3 shots.
This is wild.
Mm-hmm. Tanya Kopric story, though, doesn't begin in Missouri. She was born and raised in Yugoslavia. And from an early age, she was determined to do what few women in her community dared to dream. She wanted to become a doctor. That dream brought her to the United States, aka Kansas City, Missouri. I like Missouri. You say tomato, I say tomato. We've never been to Kansas City.
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I haven't. I really do want to go. I think it looks like a cool city. I don't think it's like somewhere you go for like a week long stay, but like maybe a long weekend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I was 18 when I went, so it's
Okay.
been a long time.
Yeah, I don't know what like the scene is there, but I mean, it seems like it's a town that has some good food, right? Kansas City barbecue and history.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened in Kansas City. I think one of the World's Fair was there at one point,
Possibly.
possibly. Isn't there an arch somewhere around there?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. See, I got our whole weekend mapped out for us.
Arch.
Yeah. Anyways, I was just thinking about this when we were writing this. I was like, I would love to spend a weekend in Kansas City. Um, but that's where she studied medicine, completing her training, and built a life that her family back at home was very proud of. By age 34, she had everything she'd worked so hard for. She had a successful career, she had her own apartment, and a community of friends. Um, and eventually, a fiance. His name was Richard Bocklage. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. He was a pharmacy student at the University of Missouri. He was charismatic, energetic, and at first, very attentive. Tanya welcomed into her life and very quickly invited him to move in with her. However, not all of her friends were impressed. He gave off the ick, as some the new people say now. Her friend is interviewed and says that from the beginning, I didn't really like him because he used her financially and morally. He was using her for a lot of things. He used her credit card, he used her car, basically everything.
Her apartment.
Yeah, everything. Richard began spending more and more time with Tanya and less time in class. He also was known to like shower her with gifts with her own money.
I mean, that's one way
I
of doing it, I
we now
guess.
today would call this like love bombing, right? Like super affectionate, lovey, very attentive, romantic, way up front. However, as he spent less time in class, he started to risk flunking out. In fact, Jane is Richard's academic advisor, and she's also interviewed on Unsolved Mysteries.
Did we mention the age gap?
Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't. She was 34 and he was like 20 something.
24, 23, something like. There was a
Yeah.
10-year
I
age
thought it was
gap.
a 12-year age gap.
It might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, get it, girl. She's a cougar. But 34 seems kind of young to be a cougar.
I
What age do you think starts cougar age?
think I don't know. You got to be 40 at least.
At least for I agree. 39 to 41, 42, maybe somewhere in there.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
I actually don't think cougars were a thing back then. I mean, as like much as they are now. Mrs. Wheeler's mom, that's what.
Didn't they? What's the famous movie that started all this?
Oh,
Graduate
The Graduate. You
with
are correct.
that
Maybe
came
I'm
out.
just ignorant. And
When
this
did
is
that
like,
come out? It
maybe
came.
this has been a thing in men's world for like ever that women, hot older women are
Was
just
it?
cool. The actor's name, I can't remember it.
It's gonna drive me crazy because Robert Redford. No,
No, and it
no.
wasn't Robert De Niro. No.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
Dustin Hoffman.
Who was not a good looking guy.
I don't know what he looked like back then, but I think it came out in the 70s.
Yeah, I've never seen The
All right,
Graduate.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I might have to
Okay.
be doing it. All right, you.
Okay. So his academic advisor is interviewed on Unsolved Mysteries, and she says, I wrote this down, he was not really motivated. He wanted to be a pharmacist, but you have to want it bad enough to devote many, many hours to the academic study, like to get to the end of it. Yeah. I mean, I would love to be a lot of things. But
All right. It was Dustin
it was
Hoffman,
Dustin Hoffman.
and it came out in 1967.
Whoa, that was really progressive then
I
for that
thought
time.
this was an 80s
Bet
or
if
late
we watched
70s.
it, we would be like, oh, this is really not as scandalous to us. But I bet back then
That's
it
just because we
was.
both desensitized
Yeah.
ourselves now.
But I thought it was funny that he really wanted to be a pharmacist, but like then the work that comes along with it, that part wasn't
We
appealing.
all want a lot of things. We just don't want to
Yeah,
work for it.
exactly.
I want $1,000,000, but
I would love to be a doctor, but also the 10 plus years in school doesn't seem like what I want to do. So on July 19th, 1980, the university officially expels him from the program and says he's not eligible to, like, literally in the middle of the year, kicks him out. Because instead of taking any responsibility for his own actions, Richard begged Tanya to use her status at the hospital to try to pull strings for him. When she didn't, his behavior grew erratic and angry and turned violent. After months of just increased instability in this relationship, Tanya made the decision that she was done. 2 weeks later, on September 18th, Richard then chooses to show up in class as if nothing had ever happened.
did she break it off with him?
Yeah, so she breaks up with him. And then within 2 weeks of that, so he gets kicked out of school. His fiance
Engagement.
kicks him out and breaks up with him. Yeah. And within that 2 week time period, he just decides to show up to class again and act as if nothing. Like
This is like
George
George
Costanza.
Costanza in Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That's what reminded me.
Yeah. 100%. So university officials refuse to let him return. So he then appeals the decision, writing letters and begging for a reconsideration. And this goes like all the way up to like the board directors meet to evaluate this. And they unanimously vote, and you're done. So that afternoon, they tell the secretary to call Richard and let him know that their decision is done and final and he is no longer welcome at their school. And then they yeet out of there. So people could sense that this man was starting to become unstable
Yeah.
because they all acted as if they were in fear of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to the point where at 3:45 that same day after he gets the phone call, two professors see Richard driving towards the dean's office, recognize that he seems worked up, and flip a U and head and walk in the other direction. Meanwhile, Richard starts wandering the halls carrying a large manila envelope, many believe hiding a weapon. We don't know if that's what he was doing, but
It does make me wonder if you guys believe that. Why didn't
why didn't anyone
security?
call?
Or are you seeing what had happened later, knowing he's a suspect,
That's a good point.
and then saying, "I wonder."
Because I will say, I mean, to the point where, at least in the reenactment, he goes in and like asks the secretary
For the dean of
for the
admissions.
dean, yeah, when is he going to be back? And she kind of placates to him, like, oh, I don't know if he's coming back in today. And he's like, fine, I'll just wait. And he's like pacing around and acting all erratic and aggravated and carrying this gun shaped envelope. Why didn't anyone alert campus security or the local law enforcement?
Yeah.
But
Which makes me wonder if if that really was a thought at the time, or is just kind of like thinking back after hearing all the news and saying, "Phew,
oh man, yeah.
I wonder."
Yeah, so Richard leaves the school, not getting to talk to anybody in person. 3 hours later, Tanya would come home from work, and before she could even step out of her car, a man approached the driver's side window and fired 3 rounds into her head and face.
Golly,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Witnesses recognized the shooter as Richard. Police later learned that he had recently purchased a .45 caliber handgun. Unfortunately, by the time paramedics arrived, Tanya was pronounced dead. According to Detective Warren Miller with the Kansas City Police Department, 6 days later, Canadian authorities found Richard's car abandoned nearly 1,000 miles north of Kansas City. He had been seen by 2 witnesses in the area and then vanished. 2 months after the murder, Tanya's parents in Yugoslavia received a letter unsigned. And did you get the postmark date on that? I missed it the first time I watched it.
No.
It was postmarked 2 days before the murder.
Like I said, I thought that's what they said in there.
Yeah.
That it was postmarked 2 days before her murder,
Mm-hmm.
which is wild.
Yeah. So this was premeditated 100%. The handwriting on the envelope was later confirmed to be Richard's. And I have part of the letter. I tried to find the whole letter. I couldn't find it in its entirety. And I did find one that has more than I'm going to say to you, but it gets into like calling her all kinds of names and stuff. And there's just no reason for me to do that. So it says, your daughter has been executed in Kansas City, Missouri. She has caused so much grief, anguish, and turmoil to so many Americans. This act was necessary. It looked like, as I was reading it, the pieces that I could find, it's like he tried to write it like a state official, almost like,
It doesn't matter, dude. You're a monster
yeah, 100%.
for doing that to his parents. Her
Yeah.
parents.
Despite sightings in Canada, Missouri, and Minnesota over the years, Richard has nowhere to be found. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. They give us an age progressed photo of him.
Yeah, they show multiple pictures of him. All right. I have a bad feeling about this. Give us our update.
Unsolved.
Lee.
To date, he is one of Kansas City's longest sought fugitives. He has family members throughout Missouri as well as in Minnesota. And Richard is officially wanted for capital murder. He is 6 feet tall, weighs 145 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, surgical scars running vertically underneath each underarm. He had to have his sweat glands removed because he sweat profusely so much. Gross. If you have that, I apologize. You are not a gross person, but this man is a monster, so I will make fun of everything about him that I can. And he has friends and families throughout St. Louis and Minnesota, and his birth date is July 12th, 1957. So what would that make him today?
1957?
Mm-hmm.
68?
Yeah, so it's likely he's still alive. So I did read the FBI appears to have both of his parents have passed away. Anytime there is anything to do with his family, because he has got like a sister and some cousins and stuff like that. His cousin was actually the one that introduced him to the girl he would go on to murder. So he was close with them. They've attended like all of their funerals and stuff like that, hoping that he would show up. He never has, according to their family. He hasn't contacted them since like several days prior to the murders. And I guess in 2000, he was suspected to also maybe having to do with some sort of robberies taking place up and down one of the interstates around that area. But nothing. So I read an article that in England, there's a man that's really well known for like very accurate age progressed photos. He stepped in and offered his services for that. I'll go ahead and post those. But yeah, he likely is out there. They believe he's more than likely still living in America and probably hasn't gone too far from the Midwest area that he was comfortable with.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's wild. So in the last few weeks, we've had him and then that family annihilator.
Yeah.
Never get caught.
Yeah. But this guy have had far less resources, and he's also a narcissistic a-hole. I just can't imagine that he hasn't gone on to like
Which makes me wonder if when he drove to Canada, because at least in the reenactment they show that he was like in a wooded area where they found
Hmm.
this car. Maybe he went into the woods and
They have theorized that, but and of course you can only search what they said that that area was not uninhabited. It was actually a pretty popular area.
yeah. So that's I mean
Yeah,
I'm
and that
throwing
they
that's just a
searched it,
guess.
but that is definitely it's still an option on the table because it can't be ruled out
And
till
by now, like
yeah.
anything left,
Hmm.
they would have had to find his remains within like 5 or
Yeah.
something years, whatever. I don't know.
I hope he hasn't had a comfortable night's sleep since then. I hope he's miserable and I was constantly looking over his shoulders and that Karma is not his boyfriend.
Wow. All right.
Okay. What do you got for us, Benjamin?
I got I don't know, a weird one.
It is a weird, I do love a good conspiracy theory or government cover up.
All right. We're gonna get told the
The
story.
Stolly.
The story of Paul Whipkey. All right, Paul was um he joined the military, joined the army, graduated, and in like the mid 50s. And shortly after he graduated, no, he was in ROTC, graduated, and joined the military. Shortly after that, he went to aviation school, graduated from that, and then he was posted. He was assigned to Fort Ord,
Ord?
California. Yeah, Ord, O-R-D.
For Ord.
I
I
don't know
never
if that's,
heard of it.
well, yeah, I don't know. In California in July of 1956. So while he was there, he was a lieutenant. But then in the summer of 1957, he was um, posted to Camp Desert Rock in Nevada over the summer. And he was flying observation planes for atomic bomb testing, which is
No, it's never good.
wild to me that
I
we were
know.
still testing atomic bombs.
But
But it
also
was the
not.
50s.
Yeah,
It's the
like,
Cold War. So,
yeah.
and during that time, he was exposed to radiation. After he gets back to California, he starts having like
Major problems.
they kind of just skim over it if you notice, like they just literally kind of say it
Yeah.
and then move on.
But he lost all of his teeth, didn't he, or something
So he
crazy?
had yeah,
Yeah.
he had blotches on his skin, and then he had to have all of his teeth removed and dentures because
Yeah, that's not a little bit of radiation poisoning.
yeah.
Yeah.
So while he was there, they said like he was given um and they kind of talk about, so his brothers on there, and they also have his commanding officer interviewed later. We'll kind of get into that. But he gets back from that, and they say he's kind of like reclusive, which is not usually himself. He's acting differently. They were giving him uh they said he had like responsibilities of a captain, but even though he was only a lieutenant, so he was taking what pretty much he was taking on more responsibility. He was stressed, he was studying for it, he was working late, whatever that was. They don't tell us exactly what it is, but so he's acting weird. Anyways, July 10th, 1958, he leaves the fort and military base, Fort Ord, late in the afternoon, says he's going to be just going to Monterey, which is supposedly only a mile away. And he's going to be back like the next day. He never returns. So, next day, he doesn't show up. That all next week, he's deemed AWOL, which is what does AWOL stand for?
AWALL.
AWOL, AWOL.
OOL. Away without permission. Away
Absent
absent without leave.
So, after 30 days, he is
That's why I could never be in the military. The fact that someone says you're not allowed to go somewhere because you don't have permission, that right there, just even thinking that someone could have that much power over me.
no absent without leave means that just like any job. If
I know what it means, but that's also why I don't have a boss and a job because I would,
I'm saying at any work, if you don't show up on Monday and you hadn't given them a reason why you're not showing up, you're technically absent without leave.
yeah, it's no call, no show.
Yeah,
But the
that
military, you sign up, it's a little bit more of a commitment than just a job, right? You sign over like,
you've
I'm
signed
just saying
forward
to
your
you, this
commitment.
makes me feel like I can't breathe and like I'm suffocating when someone says that you could potentially be absent without leave because if I just chose that I wanted to go somewhere, that I have to get permission to do it, makes me feel like I can't breathe.
You- We all have to get leave to like be absent
I
from
don't
work.
have to get leave.
So, anyways, after 30 days, he's declared a deserter and he's not seen again.
And again, there's charges for that. If I just don't show back up at my job at the Cheesecake Factory, no one's pressing charges.
That is true.
Okay, see, so that's where the suffocation comes in.
All right, August 17th, 1958, a fish and game warden find Whipkey's abandoned car in Death Valley, which is like 500 miles away. It's a ways away.
I know. And they said what the temperature was that
Like
day.
120. It is August, and
I know, but I'm also like, yeah, welcome to the desert, man. We get that here. I don't know if we've ever hit 120, but we've gotten to 118, and that was a lot. Yeah.
yeah. So August 17th. So he's been now missing for 5 weeks. Okay, but game warden he kind of notices like the car's just there. There's stuff in the vehicle. The keys are still in the ignition. It just doesn't seem right. So, gonna find out. The military does a little bit of investigation. There's a gas receipt, and it places him in Mojave, California, on July 11th, which is the day after he left. And they also found motel records that said that he stayed at a White Sands motel the night of July 10th to 11th, so the day he left.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly people claim that he left there like the next day in civilian clothes in his car. His car was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Or at least the car in the reenacted. So the Army just puts this down that he was too stressed over everything he was doing, and he decided to park his car and walk
Walk
out
away
the
from it
desert
all.
and die in the desert.
Which,
So,
yeah.
but we get his brother, and he doesn't think so.
Mm-mm.
He thinks some things just don't add up. He comes to find out that the day after his brother leaves, um, the military cleaned out his room and like emptied it from all personal belongings, which technically, even if for deserters, like they're supposed to contact the family
Yeah.
for personal belongings. And plus, this question is why would you empty out his room just one day from him being missing? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you
That's a
wait the
quick,
whole
yeah.
30 days before he's officially declared
Well,
a
you don't even
deserter?
know if he's injured. He could have been in a car. Like, there's
Yeah.
a million things that could have been done.
So supposedly they just throw this out there that an eyewitness, we have no idea who this eyewitness is,
Mm-hmm.
says that they saw his car being driven by a man in a military uniform 4 weeks after he went missing. I, that's all the information they give you. I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. So, but as I said, he left in civilian clothes. So he wasn't in his uniform.
Yeah.
All right. Also, there was a pile of cigarette butts outside of his car, and Paul didn't smoke. So, what was going on there? Did you see how many cigarette
There
butts?
was it's an aggressive
Like
amount of
50.
aggressive amount of cigarettes. Yeah.
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 At least, yeah, like I said, in the reenactment, there's a lot. So, and then the military didn't even like go out to the desert and look for his body for like 9 months,
That's
supposedly.
that is crazy.
Yeah. So Carl is his brother. He he just doesn't think any of this adds up. He just wants to find the truth. Like, what happened to my brother? What's going on? Like, and he even says, like, listen, he thinks his brother's involved in with the what's the bond,
James Bond?
no, what?
You
The
said bond.
bombing,
Oh, I thought you said bond.
no.
The bombing? Pearl Harbor? Hiroshima?
Him flying for the nuclear bomb stuff.
Oh.
He was doing observation flights for that. Anyways, okay. So we get his commanding officer, Charles Lewis. He gets interviewed,
Mhm.
and he even says, like, once he found out that he'd been declared a deserter, he's like, no,
No.
that does not
It
sound.
didn't add up with what he was known for.
No, it did not sound like Paul. He's like, he would not. So he starts making calls. And he said pretty much when he made a call and was asking about it, they told him, hey, man, drop it. You just need to let this go. And so then he tells of a story where in 1957, so a little while before he disappeared, he was out on the, and like outside, he saw Paul talking to two men in civilian clothes, which for being on a military base
They
wasn't,
stand out, yeah.
yeah. And he noticed that they hadn't gone through like the right buildings or whatever to be out there. So he walks up to him like, "Who are you? And let me see your ID." So they show him his ID. They're military IDs. Says the names match the picture and the guys match the picture on the ID. So he's like, "All right, have a good day." But he notices that they're talking to Paul, and they keep coming around multiple times. But he doesn't like know who they work for, what branch of the military they work for, but they continue to come around and talk to Paul. So that's all we know.
That is always weird when people just like men in black show up knocking on your door asking questions.
So he does say, his command officer says, listen, at that time, the CIA was recruiting a
Oh.
ton,
Mm-hmm.
was the 50s. He said, so, and Paul's credentials would have been, he would have made a great recruit. So it's possible these guys worked for them. He doesn't know, but
Yeah.
that's what he thinks. So, also supposedly Paul had said to his brother that he was going to be on a special assignment. He was going to make a name for himself, but he never gave any other details. So that's kind of where his brother thinks that with everything he was involved in with that his brother might have been recruited by the CIA and then something happened and he just kind of wants to know. So um, then they just throw this in the end. They also say that there was another weird thing. Paul's friend, Charles Guess,
Uh-huh.
who served with him at Desert Rock with the flying the planes for the nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
11 days after Paul vanished, he died in a plane crash. And the plane was finally found with his remains north of Death Valley,
Mm-hmm.
but the plane wreckage had a different serial number than the serial number that was
Logged in.
logged of the plane that he left in. That's all you get on that.
Yeah, maybe weird, but also could be a clerical error.
Yeah. Maybe.
Humans make mistakes when they're writing numbers down.
But they just think, okay, these two guys are connected. They were good friends.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Robert Stack comes in, like, what happened? What's going on? Is there a conspiracy with the government? All that.
Yeah.
But he does say that in 1982, the Army changed Paul's status from deserter to died in the line of duty. So I guess they looked at it,
Yeah.
which makes sense because if he did die, I mean, if something happened to him out in the desert while he was still on active duty,
Yeah.
but so what happened? Carl's continued to look and try to find answers. His brother. All right, that's where Unsolved Mysteries
Okay.
was.
Anything update?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Sounds like his brother has passed away several years ago, and technically nothing new has come out.
Yeah.
No remains, no nothing, and the government's not said anything.
Oh,
The only thing that you're going to get was from that 1982.
yeah.
So
No government agency is going to be like, actually, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but it does not. I found multiple articles talking about it, but
Do you have any theories about what happened?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, I, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd read an article that it is a very strange theory that someone would decide to walk out in the desert in the middle of the summer, and that's how they decide that they want to deal with their stress and kill themselves.
Yeah.
I agree. That's not how usually people end things. His brother thinks like they raise his brother thought that he was recruited, he left, he joined the CIA or the government or the Army intelligence. Because and we do know that Army intelligence and the CIA were working closely together at that time. We had that other story of that guy that
Mm,
disappeared, kind of same
yeah.
thing. But and that they're the ones that took his car out there and just left it, and he went off on some mission and shot down over Russia or something.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Interesting.
Probably. I don't know. I mean, really, you're just throwing guesses at the wall at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it could be the beginning of some spy novel movie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it doesn't make sense, but I
Huh.
still think we're not getting a lot of the story.
Yeah. And when the CIA may or may not be involved, I don't think you're going to get a lot of the information.
I mean, I do believe like his commanding officer is saying like these guys were coming around and they're talking to him constantly. And
Yeah. That's got to stand for something.
yeah, and on top of it, it's not like he saw him and he just sees it in passing. Like he literally walked up and demanded their ID. Like, so that is something you're gonna remember.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And for his commanding officer to say like, yeah, it didn't fit that he would just be a deserter.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take that with like
It's
this
got
guy
some weight
has
to it.
no, it's one thing for the family to say, absolutely not. He
Mhm.
went this and mm, the families I
The family's always going to have a different perspective than someone that's maybe less objective or has a different, yeah, is not as
yeah.
personally
Well, as
involved.
family we think the best of our family.
Yeah.
But
That's what family's for.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Mm. I mean, it was a weird time. I've told you before, I don't trust the CIA, and I'm sure and I know, I'm not even sure. I know that they do a lot of good, but I think that it has come with doing a lot of shady bad things. So, yeah, I mean, is the CIA recruiting people and then saying if you want this, you got to disappear or whatever? Yeah, I could see that. I don't They did all kinds of terrible things to people in the name of research and science and national security. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, are you ready for your lost love?
Yes.
Okay. I will try to stay on topic, but I was slightly annoyed at the beginning of this, and you will find out here shortly why. Uh, Catherine Brickford was 19 when she, quote, fell in love, unquote, and I use air quotes for that, with Andrew Rossman, a man twice her age. No more information to be found on him in my deep dive, so good for him. It was 1932 in Lake Placid, New York, at the height of the Great Depression. And Andrew, according to Unsolved Mysteries, was not a creepy older man, but was a rugged outdoorsman who made his living hunting and trapping in the Adirondack Mountains. They also failed to mention that he was married with a family. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Um,
So what you're saying is
this man is garbage.
you already have
They're
thoughts.
painting him as this romantic story that this like macho older daddy figure like swoops in. No, he had a reputation from everything I read of like grooming young girls. Go back to your wife and kids, my guy. Keep your rugged outdoorsman stuff
Sounds like
to yourself.
sounds like he did.
Okay. But he was quote unquote not the marrying kind. Yeah, because he was already
I
married.
loved how they said that, but then they don't mention that he was already married.
Yeah, they failed to mention that. But according to her, she was in love. Again, because she's 19. And for the time and place, this relationship was not really widely accepted. It was considered unconventional. Yeah, because he could have been her father. They never married, but lived together on and off and had 2 children. He basically kept her as like a live in mistress. They had a daughter named Gwen and a son named Gary. Sadly, according to Unsolved Mysteries, quote, family life and responsibilities proved to be just too much for Andrew. So he left.
So
He's a dirtbag.
yeah.
They romanticized him in this big time. And I have a problem with that because he's a dirtbag. So she goes to work as a waitress because not only did he leave, because from my understanding, from what I could find, he was actually fairly comfortably well off. Maybe not loaded, but made an income. Left her
Which at that time was hard.
to do. Left her with 2 children penniless.
Yeah. Left
Yeah.
her with nothing. Abandoned.
Every responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
leaving.
he's not a real man.
No. And so she went to work as a waitress to try to support the children. However, she was often made to feel ashamed of being an unwed mother. Despite this, there was one bright group of people in her inner circle, a family named the Winches, 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 who had known her since childhood and never wavered in their support. These are the good Christian people, or I guess I think he was baptized Catholic. This to me is what it means to be someone of faith, that they did not care that she was an unwed young mother. They loved her and supported her
They're
regardless.
Good people.
Good people.
Because she's interviewed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Their daughter, I think it wasn't, or maybe they were both interviewed. In the winter of 1935, Catherine had Gary baptized. That's the youngest son. Despite local gossip, the wenches went to the baptism and stood by her and her children. But by then, she was in deep financial trouble and was actually like kicked out of her apartment and not allowed to re-enter till she got caught up on her rent. So she had arranged for her daughter to go to her parents' house. She had found a job working for her uncle who had a restaurant, but it was like 2 hours away or something like that. And so she asked them if they would take Gary until she could kind of get on her feet. Catherine found herself facing like a very difficult decision as any mother could. She was trying to earn a living for her children, but that also meant being separated from them. However, this amazing little family was more than happy to take in Gary. Several days later, Catherine left to go work at the restaurant with the knowledge that Gary would be well cared for by the Winches, and Glenn, who was only 3 at the time, went to live with her grandparents. Over the next 3 years, Catherine visited Gary and Gwen whenever she could, though throughout this period, Gwen stayed with her grandparents and Florence took care of Greg. Gwen believed that Catherine had planned this arrangement to be temporary, however, or as she wanted to get herself together and be able to support her family. However, it never really worked out that way. We don't get any more information. I tried to find some more information.
It's the 30s.
It just sounds like, yeah, I couldn't find out if there was any other circumstances taking place, but she just never really seemed to be able to get back on her feet. Florence tells us in the interview that it was difficult for Catherine to visit because she was working and was at least 2 hours away. She wanted to be with Gary and Gwen, but was not able due to her circumstances. I will say that even this family being interviewed, that someone literally, without sending to us, dumped their baby off onto their family and said, "Can you watch this child for a few weeks?"
And it turned to years.
Years. And they still spoke nothing but highly about her. And then in 1939, when Gary was 3, for some reason, the Child County welfare officials contacted the mother. I'm not sure why. And they wanted her to sign papers of which she thought she was agreeing to Florence to continue the role as the foster parent. So that's what I think was a little confusing. Florence, I believe, was this family's like eldest daughter who was not married. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, the papers gave the county the authorization to put him up for adoption. So it seems like there was some kind of miscommunication. I don't know why the officials, child welfare services, got involved. They don't give us any of that
Yeah, but
information.
how they came into the picture.
Or yeah, what was the problem?
Yeah.
And Florence was advocating heavily to continue to be this child's foster parent. But at the time, she was unwed and I think living with her parents. So she wasn't, according to her on Unsolved Mysteries, not eligible to be a foster parent because she was single. And so, unknowing to everybody, the county now had authorization to put him up for adoptions. And then when officials told Florence that he was ready to be adopted, she even then offered to adopt him. But again, she was not permitted to because of her circumstances. So then her parents tried to adopt him. And they said that they were too old.
Wild.
Yes. So the neighbors of the Winches even took up a petition asking the county to let Florence, let them keep Gary. Unfortunately, no, no, no was the answer. And in the early spring of 1939, a county welfare worker showed up at the door and took him away for adoption. Like literally would not even let him pack a bag.
Yeah.
So Lawrence never even got a chance to talk to Gary that he was leaving the family. Nothing was done to prepare this kid to just put him in a new home. And she'd always hoped in one way or another she would be able to stay with him or either her or Catherine. So we kind of get just a little bit more of like the backstory that Florence is able to connect with Catherine. It's too late. Like Gary has been taken to the Children's Aid Society, which we've actually talked about before.
Yeah.
They've been problematic in several other stories, and including like the boxcar children issues too. So, long story short, Catherine and Gwen are able to be reunited because the mother and daughter, because again, she was being raised by her grandparents. Sadly, though, in 1984, Catherine died and never got a chance to tell Gary that she loved him, that this was a misunderstanding. She did not know what was happening and just spent her life wanting to get them back together and how that she felt so guilty for losing him. So we get a little background. Gary was born in Saccharin Lake, New York on June 6th, 1935. Brown hair, brown eyes. Birth certificate, his main name probably was spelled Gary with 2 R's, but later had been changed and might have been listed as Rossman. So that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
All right.
Okay.
Update. I don't
Update.
think this is going to be a good one either.
Unresolved. Okay. In 1995, the Children's Aid Society told Gwen that Gary's records were sealed by law because he was adopted and that they would not be able to help her locate her brother. So then in 2000, Gwen got in contact with one of Gary's daughters. She learned that he had been adopted by a couple named Mr. and Mrs. Ernest Ludstorm of Long Island in 1941 and renamed him Robert Ernest Ludstorm. In 1957, he married a woman named Maureen and had 3 children, Kristen, Bruce, and Debbie. Surprisingly, though, Robert abandoned his family in 1964, literally one day left and never came home, leaving his wife and children behind. One of his old classmates randomly contacted his sister and learned that he changed his last name to Keegan. I don't know if that was before or after he abandoned his family, but there's that. And she also suspected that she got the impression that this man does not want to be found. And in 2001, Gwen was actually able to reunite with his children and got to know them as Aunt Gwen. A few years later, Debbie passed away. Gwen, Krista, and Bruce have begun searching together to try to see what has happened to him. Sadly, Gwen passed away in 2018 at the age of 84. In her own obituary, she did list that she was predeceased, however, by her brother. But no one has been able to confirm whether he's actually been ever found and accounted for. From what I read on Reddit and a few other places, it does not appear that he's quote unquote missing, as in, we don't know what happened to him. It seems to be that he abandoned his life and walked away.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah.
So
It's too bad.
it's a sad story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a different ending than most of the lost loves. Even the ones that maybe started in like tragic situations usually have some sort of healing or resolve coming together. This one seems like, unfortunately, she got to know her nieces and nephews before she passed away. So,
Well, that's good, I guess.
and they even said in one of the interviews that it was nice because she was able to unlock a lot of their unknown family history.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Yeah. No word on the deadbeat dad, though, from New York.
No.
Yeah. He never reappeared into the picture.
Shocking.
Yeah. Okay. Benjamin,
All right.
story number 4.
Story number 4. Again, I didn't like the way they told this story. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
We're back and forth and back and forth. It was all over the place. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit.
Okay.
Just making that known.
You know what? I don't know if anyone has ever thought, oh, Ben sounds like he really enjoyed that story.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I mean, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
I give you that. Okay, we get told about Jim Rice. Okay, then him and his wife, Estarte Davis.
Yeah. She seems like a character.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they go to St. Croix to build their dream home in the mid 80s. Okay, but Jim disappears, and this is his story. He's a wealthy man. He was a contractor, like a contracting business, and had done well for himself.
Mm-hmm.
He met Astarte in 1970, left his first wife
Yep.
and kids.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of deadbeat guys in this. A lot of deadbeat guys.
He ends up being the victims you get, but yeah.
He
Yeah.
is a victim, and I'm not taking that away. But I don't have a lot of respect for men that ditch their families or cheat on their wives. He left his wife to marry Astarte, and he marries her. She has 3 boys.
3 boys, yeah.
Okay. But as you might come to find out, this marriage wasn't great either. It was volatile,
Yeah.
up and down. It was a mess, clearly. Okay. So before they moved to St. Croix, because that's where they started.
Yeah, I was very confused as to why that was the starting point.
That he's
Yeah.
in St. Croix. He calls his daughter, who he's
Mhm.
still in clearly has still a relationship, and tells her, "Hey, I'm coming to the States to have surgery. I'll be there in a week." He never shows up.
Yeah.
He disappears.
Yeah, and
So
then we
then we
go
get told the
back to the
backstory
beginning. Mhm.
of how he met this lady, left his first wife and kids to start a new life with her, and she must have left her husband. I don't know. I'm making an assumption, but she already had been married and had 3 sons. And then their marriage is a mess. Okay.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. So, sorry, I'm trying to find my notes here. Um, so they in 1979 moved to Hawaii
Mhm.
to start a charter business. While Jim's out of town in 1981, their yacht, they say on there, explodes. While Astarte's son, I know this is going to get confusing, did, and they just, oh my gosh, this whole story just irritates me. So Astarte's son, Noble, was cleaning the boat with gasoline at 2 in the morning.
As one does. Don't you clean with
Yeah.
gasoline in the
And
middle of
so
the night?
it all of a sudden explodes, and Noble's hurt.
Mhm.
And this is a big disaster. Jim's out of town. Come to find out, the authorities come to find out that they were like in over their head on this yacht. They owed a ton of money, but guess what they had? Insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah. So magically, yeah, that happens. They leave Hawaii after that, as you might imagine, because guess what? Charges were brought forth.
Mhm.
They go to California. They're never extradited back to California.
Back to Hawaii.
Astarte, they do say they go to California, they separate
Mhm.
Jim and Astarte. Okay. Which
I would like you to know she changed her name to Astarte.
yes, I know.
It was not original. You guys, this woman, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock, her name. And if you don't get that reference, we can't be
I
friends.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Phoebe Buffet from Friends changes her name to Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
I don't-
Anyways, I just was like, this is the same person that gets vanity plates, is that she changes her name to Astarte.
Which is like the goddess of love.
Yes, thank
Something
you.
like
Yes, something ridiculous.
something in those
Yeah.
lines. All right. So they get back to California. They separate. Astarte files for bankruptcy in 1981, but she like does something fraudulently with the documents. We're not told the specifics, but she is arrested and charged and goes to prison, federal prison. Does like 2 years.
She's a con artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while she's in prison, Jim visits her and she convinces Jim that she's changed, that things are going to work. So when she gets out of prison in 1983, they get back together.
Jim's never implicated. I thought he had gotten into trouble for things previous to this. No, he was okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. The yacht exploded. He was out of
He
town,
was out of town.
and it
Okay.
was clearly her son that did it.
Yeah.
And they're interviewing an FBI agent. He's like, "Yeah, you're cleaning your yacht at 2 in the morning."
And then you admit, oh, yeah, I was out in the middle of the night cleaning my yacht with gasoline,
Gasoline.
and an explosion happened. Whoopsie daisy.
Total by accident. And like I said, these charges all came because she was filing for bankruptcy because they were separated
Oh, okay. Got it.
at
Got
the
it. Got it.
time.
Okay.
Whatever. So they get back together. Then they move to St. Croix. Now we're back to where we started. Okay. To build their dream home. And they're going to start over. And she's rehabilitated because she's been to prison and she's a better person.
Mm-hmm.
July 20th, Jim calls his daughter, Kathleen, says, "Hey, I'm going to be coming to San Francisco. I have to have shoulder surgery." 9 days later,
What kind of surgery?
shoulder surgery.
Yeah, I think you said soldier surgery.
Whatever it is. Shoulder surgery. He never shows up. Kathleen continues to try to call. It takes her 2 weeks to finally get through and talks to Astarte. And she first tells her, oh, well, he ran off with a girl from Australia. So then she keeps calling, trying to get more answers. And she goes, well, he actually went to Miami. And so she can't get it straight.
Yeah, she's like, no, my guy, this isn't making any sense.
So Kathleen hires a private investigator, which I came to find out it was a retired FBI agent.
Okay. Do we ever find out what Kathleen does for a living? Because you see the McMansion she walked out of on her cobblestone, like circle driveway to check her mail later on in the reenactment?
Well, she does inherit everything her father has.
Dude, that chick is loaded, and she's interviewed, and her like little snike comments about
Well, she doesn't like Astarte. She does not like her dad's.
I was here for it. And then when
But
she like
rightfully so.
walked out in her like little clickety heels to like get her mail with her mansion in the background, I was like, I want to be friends with you.
Yeah, she shouldn't like her. I'm with her.
Yeah, I get it. Anyone that changes their name like that to the goddess of love, you're the same people that wear sunglasses inside at night.
So she hires Dennis Shira. He starts going down to St. Croix and investigating this. What happened to Jim? Where is he? Clearly, no one. And Astarte's not giving anybody any answers.
No.
So he comes to find out that there was a customs declaration dated July 28th, 1986. And it was supposedly signed by Jim, but it's clearly a forgery. It's not his.
Not even a
signature.
good one. Yeah.
No. And then he finds out that there was an airline ticket purchased.
But the document being forged, you guys, was so that she got power of attorney over all of his assets. Oh, is that later? Oh, did later. I gave it away?
Yeah. So that was the first thing he found was July 28th. So remind you, the last person to talk to him and they know he's alive was July 20th.
Yeah.
Right? He said he was going to be there in a week, but
yeah,
we have no idea.
We have no idea. Yeah.
Right? So July 28th, a ticket was purchased to Miami in Jim's name with 2 others. The investigator comes to find out it was Astarte, her son Noble, and Noble's girlfriend who actually got on the plane to Miami, supposedly. This is where the power of attorney. July 21st, Astarte had filed documents giving herself control of Jim's estate. And there was this power, the power of attorney was technically in Kathleen's name. And she tried. So what I come to find out, they don't explain it very good in
Unsolved Mysteries.
But she went with a fake power of attorney. So she had cut and pasted, took the power of attorney document, cut and pasted her name in it to make it look like that Jim
turned over all of his assets.
The original power of attorney document was in her name, that she had it.
Yeah.
Even though she didn't.
Yeah.
And it was a really bad cut and paste job. And what she was trying to do, I found this out after, is she was trying to move assets.
I'm sure she was.
She was trying to move money from one account to I guess this company that was owned by her son and her, so she was trying to shift all this money and all that and take all of his assets.
Yeah.
But that didn't go well. Anyway, so, and then he comes to find out that literally, July 21st around there, she held a garage sale and was selling his truck,
everything,
all of his clothes, his tools, everything
gone.
Trying to get rid of all of his stuff. So 4 months later, Kathleen, the daughter, receives a typed letter in the mail, supposedly from Australia, claiming to be Jim, saying he's run away and hey, whatever. She doesn't actually say exactly what's in
Yeah.
it. But then we get an interview by the FBI agent. He's like, dude, this was a terrible job. Because in the letter,
Mhm.
it's a typed letter, a typewriter letter,
Yeah.
right? And there's this mistake, and it's I am, and it's
One
one
word.
word, I am, and the FBI agent's like, yeah, if you look at all of
Yeah, she
Astarte's,
spelled I am as in IAM, as in one word.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
says that
She's
was
not
a
a
common mistake
smart
she made
person.
all the time in all of her documents.
Yeah.
Everything that she typed, that was like she continually kept making that grammatical
Yeah.
error.
This woman was a forger and a counterfeiter and a fraud scammer, but she was really bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, her Kathleen thinks she wants to know where her dad is. And
Yeah.
she pretty much says, I'm pretty certain my dad's not alive.
Hmm.
That he got dumped in the ocean somewhere of St. Croix and not to be, and wants to know. So, uh, but we do get told 1989, Astarte had been charged with bank and mail fraud
Hmm.
because she was trying to steal all of Jim's assets.
And mail fraud is like a hefty sentence, isn't it? Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was released on bail and she disappeared.
Shocking.
So they kind of tell us more, but it's kind of part of the update. So
Yeah.
I'll kind of that's so she's wanted,
Yeah.
and but we also what happened to Jim?
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Technically,
Where is Jim? And now where is a start day? What's the
yeah.
update for us?
All right. So 1991, she was found and arrested in Santa Barbara, and she was charged with the bank and mail fraud.
Okay.
Um, she got sentenced to 15 years. Okay. Come to find out, I don't know exactly when she went to jail, but they say she was put in a minimum security, like a medium
Medium.
security
Mhm.
prison. And then after a little while, she was moved to, and I actually found out later, she went to St. Croix and did time. Then she got
Oh.
moved to a minimum security prison in California where
Hmm.
she just like walked out.
Yeah.
Just during something, she just walked out. And that was in 97.
Yeah.
Walked out and hasn't been seen again. 2002, she was picked up in Washington, went back, finished her time.
And that second one, was that an Unsolved Mysteries tip? I think they said one of the two
She
times.
got featured again in 2002 on
Yes.
Unsolved Mysteries,
Okay.
and she was featured on America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think that was, and she had a bunch of plastic surgery done to try to like disguise herself. She was working, yeah. So, and I read an article like she was working the books for some construction company and was writing checks for herself and was stealing from them. It was all this lady's
It
just a
is
con
insane.
artist and a
People
thief.
work harder to like do this kind of stuff than if they just got
She
jobs.
was caught, finished her time,
Mhm.
but according to Jim, his body was never found.
Yeah.
She was never charged because they have nothing.
They have nothing.
The FBI does believe that she's their number one suspect for
Oh, her and
disappearance
her
and
son
murder.
for sure had something to do with that.
Jim was officially declared dead in like 1989 or 1988. And,
Mhm.
you know,
That's still completely unsolved.
yes, it's unsolved because they have nothing. And it happened in St. Croix. So,
Yeah.
and by the time anyone knew about it, it was weeks later. And
Do you think
she's,
that son was involved?
oh, of course,
You think that
100%.
girlfriend was involved? That would be
I have no
that's the
idea.
weak link
The
there.
only thing we know about the girlfriend is what the private investigator said that she was on the plane. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do believe the son and her.
Oh, yeah. If he
But
was
I
willing to help
looked
her with the other things.
and I read an article from 2025
Okay.
about her, and they were like trying to find her. To this day, it appears she's still alive, living somewhere in California. That would put her about 95 years old
Wow.
or in her 90s. But they cannot find any type of death certificate, anything like that. So they think the last place she was known to be was in like California.
Tell you one thing I've learned about people like that. They don't change their ways.
No, absolutely not.
And then getting to be like this little old lady, scams, it makes it easier.
But it's also possible this lady was a fraud, changed her name.
Her
multiple
son never got
times.
charged with anything though. Dude, I bet. Did
Rumor
you
was-
find anything about him?
So it looked like he testified at her trial.
Of course he
He
did.
was a
Yeah.
witness for her bank fraud and all that.
Yeah.
So he probably got
Cut a deal. Yeah.
to testify and testified on his own mom. But didn't spill the beans on.
But you're a scam artist, so yeah, that tracks. You're your number one priority.
But unfortunately, clearly,
Mm-hmm.
they did something to Jim.
Yeah.
And that was never the sad part about this story is there is just because she did time for that stuff, it still isn't justice.
No.
So
Is Jim's daughter still around?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I didn't look her up.
Okay. Wow. All right. That was quite a lot in that episode, you guys. I thought it was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Even that lost love wasn't the worst, but you know.
Definitely didn't end the way I was thinking.
No, it didn't. I was quite surprised to not be able to bring you any sort of information. And then with the twist that he abandoned his family too, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, that is your episode, season 3, episode 21. Now we've reached the time in the podcast where Ben and I have silly questions and some chitty chat. If you are not into that, please feel free to exit stage right. And for the rest of our friends sticking around, Ben, are you ready for your question? You have to pick one Thanksgiving side dish to keep and one to get rid of. What's your favorite and what one are you tossing in the trash?
Side dish.
Yeah. And it can't be just some random side dish like salmon dip that you don't already like. It has to be already the ones that the standard traditional ones. Okay. What are you keeping? What are you tossing?
All right.
Okay.
Keeping. This is hard.
I know.
Between two.
Okay.
Yams and mashed potatoes.
Mm.
Love them both.
Okay.
Toss, super easy. Cranberry sauce.
I love cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple.
That's an easy toss.
Toss it.
Toss it.
I didn't even eat it this
Yeah.
last Thanksgiving. Not that I dislike it.
But you think the ranking number one side dish for you is either between the mashed potatoes and the yams?
Yeah.
I would say yams only because we don't make them. I can make mashed potatoes with almost every meal. Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards yams because, and the way you make it.
Guys, the way I make yams
is amazing.
Had you ever had yams like that ever?
No.
No.
And I love them.
Love them. It is a Hauk secret recipe.
Sierra makes it in like this caramel brown sugar sauce.
Whiskey, orange. Yeah, sauce.
Caramel. And then you toast marshmallows on top. They're delicious. I mean,
and they're not whipped. They're sliced, like swimming in this
sliced yams.
They're so good.
Brown sugar.
Butter sauce.
Buttery sauce. And they're so good. So if I had to pick one, it would be yams. Toss one, cranberry sauce.
And I make almost everything from scratch for our Thanksgiving, including the cranberry sauce.
Sierra makes. This should have been our one from last week, but
it's still on my mind. Because every time I spent 6 hours making this dinner and I love, and here's the thing, someone could come from another household and sit down and think it's the worst food ever. I don't care. It's for some reason, it is how I like all of those things and I've honed that craft in. And I'm like, why don't I do this like every several weeks? Like make some sort of giant meal like this with these things. Because We don't eat it any other time of year, like in this way. Like
Yeah,
I
we
don't
don't
make
really.
cranberry or I don't make homemade cranberry sauce. I don't make these candied yams any other time.
No, and the candy yams are. I have always loved yams.
Yeah.
I like just regular yams too, so I'm a big fan. But we don't eat them a lot in our
Yeah.
house. Probably should more. But all right, what about you?
My favorite side dish. I'm Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I love gravy soaked mashed potatoes and turkey soaked in gravy. But I think because I only make them once a year would have to be the candied yams.
Delicious.
But getting rid of one is hard for me because I love every single one of them. And I actually like cranberry sauce with the turkey. I like the layer of flavors on that. Honestly, if I had to get rid of one only because it's like carbs number 3 would be stuffing.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And here's the thing, I love
Knew
the
you were
stuffing, but
gonna
if I already
say
have
the
the
stuffing. How dare you?
yeah, and stuffing's actually the one thing that I semi cheat on because I'm sorry, stovetop stuffing,
It's really good.
it's good. Now I church it up a bit. I slice in some apples and sage sausage, and I do. I chur up a bit. And I never in my life, ever, ever, ever cook stuffing inside of a turkey and then eat that because that is foul. But yeah, if I had to get rid of one just for Thanksgiving Day that we can never have again, I'd have to dump the stuffing.
It's an abomination.
uh, but yeah, let us know, guys. What do you? And here's the thing: if all this food sounds delicious to any of our international listeners and they'd like to invite me and Ben over, I will come to your house and I will cook you a full Sierra Thanksgiving dinner as a way of thanking you, especially our fans in the south of France that I've seen download us, Australia, Germany, and it will take any of you guys. We love you all. But yeah, we are excited. It's the holidays, you guys. It's getting to be Christmassy, so we're gonna have some fun the next couple weeks, and we will see you back again next week when Ben and I recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.